Have you ever been held back by the fear of criticism? Whether it's a snide remark from a colleague, unsolicited advice from a stranger, or harsh judgment from someone close, critics are an inevitable part of life. Their words can sting, distract, and even make you doubt yourself. But what if you could face criticism with unshakable calm and confidence? What if you could rise above negativity and use it as fuel for growth rather than letting it hold you back? In this video, we'll explore 6 powerful Stoic strategies to silence your critics, practical tools that will help you stay composed, turn adversity into growth, and prove your strength not through words but through your actions. If you're ready to face criticism with the Stoics' calm and wisdom, hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. 1. Ignore their words. Have you ever stopped to consider how much control we hand over to other people's words? It's almost automatic. Someone makes a remark, whether it's a casual critique or a deeply cutting comment, and we let it echo in our minds, sometimes for hours or even days. But what if you didn't? What if you chose to reclaim that control? Ignoring criticism, insults, or opinions isn't about denying their existence or living in denial. It's about refusing to give them the power to dictate your emotions, decisions, or self-worth. Words by themselves are neutral. They only carry weight when you allow them to. Imagine someone insulting you in a language you don't understand. Those words would bounce right off you because they hold no meaning in your mind. Now, what if you could apply that same detachment to every harmful or critical thing said about you? That's what the Stoics teach. Opinions, whether they're flattering or condemning, are just external noise, meaningless unless you choose to internalize them. Think about it. A harsh word, a critical comment, or even a rude insult doesn't inherently harm you. What causes the sting is your reaction to it, how you let it penetrate your mind and influence your sense of self. Stoicism reminds us that we have control over our reactions. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In other words, the power lies entirely within you to let go of the control other people's words might have over you. When you ignore harmful words, you strip them of their power. Instead of engaging, defending yourself, or reacting emotionally, you show incredible strength and discipline by choosing not to respond at all. This isn't weakness or passivity, it's one of the highest forms of self-mastery. By doing so, you're not only protecting your peace but also focusing your energy on things that truly matter. After all, every moment spent dwelling on someone else's opinion is a moment lost that could have been used to grow, create, or live a life aligned with your values. By letting harmful words fade into the background, you reclaim your inner strength. You become unshaken, calm, and composed, able to rise above the noise. Have you ever noticed how those who remain unaffected by criticism seem more powerful, more in control? That's because they are. They've mastered the art of ignoring what doesn't serve them, and in doing so, they command respect and peace of mind. So, the next time someone criticizes or mocks you, take a moment to pause. 2. Respond with calmness and virtue. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's words or actions tempted you to react emotionally? It's natural to feel the urge to defend yourself, lash out, or even retaliate, but what if you didn't? Responding with calmness and virtue is one of the most powerful ways to handle criticism or conflict. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but about choosing to act from a place of reason and self-control rather than impulse. By doing so, you show not only inner strength but also wisdom, which often leaves your critics with nothing to hold on to. When you react emotionally to criticism, you often give your critics exactly what they want, validation of their words and power over your state of mind. On the other hand, maintaining composure sends a clear message. You are not controlled by external circumstances or the opinions of others. It's a display of self-mastery, a cornerstone of both Stoic philosophy and emotional intelligence. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." In this case, your calm response reflects your choice to rise above negativity rather than sink to its level. Responding with virtue means embodying qualities like patience, humility, and respect, even when faced with hostility or criticism. Imagine someone hurling insults at you, expecting an angry or defensive reply, only for you to calmly acknowledge their perspective or simply walk away. This response not only disarms them, but also reflects a profound strength of character. It's hard to argue with someone who refuses to argue back. Instead of escalating the conflict, you set a standard of grace and dignity that speaks louder than any words could. Have you ever noticed how people respect those who remain composed under pressure? It's because calmness in the face of criticism reflects emotional maturity and strength. It turns a potentially volatile situation into an opportunity to show leadership and integrity. Critics often expect an emotional outburst, but by responding with reason and self-control, you flip the narrative. You control the tone, the outcome, and, most importantly, your own state of mind. So, the next time you're faced with criticism or negativity, pause. 3. Turn criticism into growth. Have you ever considered how criticism, no matter how uncomfortable it feels, can be one of the most valuable tools for personal growth? Often, our initial reaction to criticism is defensive. We feel the need to justify ourselves or dismiss the critique entirely. But what if, instead, you leaned into it? Criticism, when viewed through the lens of self-improvement, becomes a gift rather than a threat. It gives you a chance to see your blind spots, recognize areas where you can grow, and ultimately become a better version of yourself. Marcus Aurelius exemplified this mindset when he said, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change." His words reflect a profound openness to learning, even if it means admitting fault. This attitude takes humility, a willingness to prioritize truth and growth over pride. It requires asking yourself, is there some truth in this criticism? Can I use this feedback to improve? When you embrace this perspective, even harsh or poorly delivered critiques can become powerful lessons. Turning criticism into growth doesn't mean blindly accepting every piece of feedback. Not all criticism is valid, and not all critics have your best interests at heart. The key is to separate useful insights from unhelpful noise. Consider the source of the criticism. Is it coming from someone who knows you well or understands the context of your actions? Is it delivered with constructive intent, or is it rooted in negativity? When valid, even the sharpest critique can help you improve skills, refine your approach, or adjust your perspective. By welcoming criticism as a learning opportunity, you develop resilience and emotional maturity. Instead of viewing it as an attack, you begin to see it as a tool for self-awareness. It can highlight areas where you may have overlooked something or where there's room for improvement. This shift in perspective also builds confidence because you're no longer afraid of being criticized. You understand that mistakes and imperfections are simply part of the journey toward growth. When you adopt this mindset, you also set an example for others. Have you ever noticed how people respect those who can accept feedback with grace and use it to improve? It demonstrates strength, humility, and a commitment to personal excellence. It shows that you're secure enough to admit when you're wrong and determined enough to correct your course. 4. Rise above insults. Have you ever found yourself drawn into a petty argument or tempted to retaliate when someone insults you? It's natural to feel that urge, but engaging in such negativity only pulls you away from what truly matters. Rising above insults isn't about weakness or avoidance. It's about strength, discipline, and staying focused on your greater purpose. When you refuse to engage in petty arguments or retaliate with insults, you demonstrate self-control and a sense of direction that negativity cannot shake. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, perfectly captured this idea when he said, "If a man knows not to what port he sails, no wind is favorable." His words remind us of the importance of having clarity about our goals and values. Insults and petty arguments are like unpredictable winds. They distract and throw you off course. But if you know where you're headed, these winds lose their power over you. Instead of wasting energy on unproductive exchanges, you channel it toward your aspirations. When you retaliate against an insult, you give power to the person who insulted you. You allow their words to control your emotions and actions, dragging you into a cycle of negativity. Rising above insults, however, shows that you are in command of yourself. It communicates that your time, energy, and focus are too valuable to be spent on trivial conflicts. Imagine how liberating it feels to simply walk away, unaffected, while others try in vain to provoke you. Rising above also means understanding the motives behind insults. People often lash out because of their own insecurities, frustrations, or struggles. Their words usually reflect more about their internal state than about you. Recognizing this makes it easier to let go and not take insults personally. Instead of reacting with anger, you can respond with calm indifference or even empathy, which often diffuses tension and leaves your critics disarmed. Have you ever noticed how those who rise above negativity exude a sense of quiet power? It's because they remain focused on what truly matters. By not getting drawn into petty exchanges, they conserve their energy for their goals and growth. This ability to stay composed in the face of provocation is a hallmark of emotional maturity and strength. It allows you to maintain your peace and dignity, no matter the circumstances. The next time someone insults you, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, does responding to this serve my goals? Will engaging in this argument bring me closer to the person I want to be? If the answer is no, let the insult roll off your back. Focus instead on your values, your purpose, and the things that truly matter. By rising above, you show the world and yourself that you are guided by your aspirations, not by the distractions of negativity. 5. Let actions speak louder than words. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful responses often come not from words but from actions? When faced with criticism, it can be tempting to defend yourself, argue, or prove your point through debate. But words can only go so far. The most effective way to silence your critics is to focus on your goals, work hard, and let your results speak for themselves. Instead of wasting time engaging in arguments, channel that energy into excelling at what you do. Over time, your achievements will overshadow any doubts or negative remarks. Critics often thrive on getting a reaction. They want to pull you into a back-and-forth exchange, where their words can weigh on your emotions and distract you from your path. But when you remain silent and focus on your craft, you deny them the satisfaction of engagement. By consistently putting in the effort and delivering results, you demonstrate the value of your actions over empty words. It's a quiet, dignified way of proving them wrong without ever needing to argue your case. Success is the ultimate rebuttal. When your work speaks for itself, when you achieve what others doubted or mocked, it leaves little room for further criticism. Think of how powerful it feels to achieve something that others said you couldn't. Have you ever experienced a moment like that? It's not just about silencing your critics. It's about building your confidence and reinforcing your belief in your own abilities. Letting your actions speak louder than words also builds credibility. Anyone can talk about their potential or argue against criticism, but not everyone can back it up with tangible results. When you consistently show up, work hard, and excel, people begin to take notice. Over time, even your harshest critics will have to acknowledge your dedication and success, whether they voice it or not. It's important to remember that proving your critics wrong shouldn't be your primary motivation. The goal isn't to live your life for others' approval or to constantly work to disprove negativity. Instead, focus on pursuing your passions and living according to your values. Your growth and success should come from a place of personal fulfillment, not from the need to respond to others. In the end, your results will speak louder than any argument ever could. And when you prove them wrong through your accomplishments, you won't just silence your critics. You'll inspire others to do the same. 6. Practice indifference. Have you ever felt your mood shift dramatically because of someone's opinion? Whether it was praise that lifted you up or criticism that brought you down. It's a common experience, but Stoic philosophy teaches us a different way of responding. Practicing indifference or apatheia, the state of being emotionally unaffected by external events. This doesn't mean becoming cold or unfeeling. Instead, it's about developing inner resilience so that neither praise nor blame has the power to disturb your peace. Critics' opinions, whether positive or negative, don't define your worth unless you allow them to. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, observed this tendency in human nature when he wrote, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that for a moment. How often do we value the fleeting judgments of others more than our own deeply held principles or self-respect? We let praise inflate our ego and criticism deflate our confidence, constantly shifting our sense of self-worth based on what others think. But why should someone else's opinion matter more than your own understanding of yourself? Practicing indifference means breaking free from this cycle and anchoring your worth in something far more stable, your own judgment and values. To remain indifferent to praise or blame, remind yourself that opinions are subjective and often fleeting. Someone may admire you today and criticize you tomorrow, based on nothing more than their changing mood or perspective. Does this fluctuation have any real bearing on who you are? Stoicism teaches that the only things truly within your control are your thoughts, actions, and character. Everything else, including others' opinions, belongs to the realm of externals, which you cannot control and should therefore learn to let go. This doesn't mean you should ignore all feedback or refuse to learn from others. Constructive criticism can be a valuable tool for growth, but it should be evaluated calmly and rationally, not taken as a personal attack. Similarly, praise can be appreciated, but it should never become the foundation of your self-worth. By practicing indifference, you train yourself to remain steady, unshaken by the highs of approval or the lows of disapproval. Have you ever admired someone who seemed unbothered by what others thought of them? Their confidence likely comes from within, not from the validation of others. This is what practicing indifference can give you: a quiet, grounded sense of self-assurance that no opinion can shake. It's about valuing your own judgment above external noise and staying true to your values, no matter what others say. The next time you find yourself reacting to praise or criticism, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, does this opinion truly define me? Does it align with my values or change who I am? Most of the time, the answer will be no. By recognizing this, you can free yourself from the need for external validation and focus instead on living a life guided by your own principles. Remember, your worth isn't determined by others. It's determined by the strength of your character and the consistency of your actions. That is what truly matters.